Makadimi, how are you? Wanji, Chini, Vana, Vedzimbadzemawe. Ini Stella Ngundonzi Linda Tsungirai Masarira Kaingidza, Mtungamili webato rinonzi Labour Economists and African Democrats. Nasi ndangoti ndiwane nguva shomanana yekuti timbokurukura zviri kuitika mukati menyika yedu kuburikidza nekumbunyikidzirwa kwekodzero dzevashandi vari mukati menyika yedu. We have noted over the past few days that civil servants have been trying to negotiate for an increment in their salaries, which have been eroded by the harsh economic climate that we're currently facing as a country. It is rather unfortunate that government is not alluding to the civil servants' demands, as they no longer make any meaningful sense. They cannot even afford a proper bread basket for their families. And as the president of Labour Economists and African Democrats, I am making a clarion call to the Minister of Labour, Sekesai Nzenza, and the president of this country, Comrade Emerson Mnangagwa, to ensure that they deal with this labour issue as a matter of urgency. Why am I saying this? During the GNU era and around 2009, the civil servant salaries were pegged at between $300 and $400. And during the bond time era, the teachers' salaries and most civil servants were still around that figure. Fast forward to today, the salaries that teachers and most civil servants are earning cannot even pay their rentals, and neither can they afford to get to their workstations with the amount that they are currently earning. My clarion call this evening is to say, why do we not peg the civil servant salaries with the old rate of about $400 to $500 with the current prevailing exchange rate, so that they can be able to sustain their livelihoods and ensure that they deliver the best quality service at their workplaces? Teachers are currently disgruntled, and that has affected the quality of education that they're giving to our children, and that is a fact. Nurses are disgruntled, and the standards at our health institutions have deteriorated because they have to hustle between their formal work and trying to get side jobs so that they can sustain their families and livelihoods at their places of residence. It is time for Zimbabweans to start cultivating a sense of ownership. There is no one who can fix Zimbabwe's problems for us except us. There is no one who is more Zimbabwean than the other. We are all Zimbabweans, and we all have a responsibility to ensure that we rebuild Zimbabwe together. It is very easy to destroy, but very difficult to rebuild. At this time and juncture, considering it is important for Zimbabweans to rethink about demonstrations in Zimbabwe. Are demonstrations the solution to the quagmire that we're currently facing as a nation? Are we going to yield any positive results from these so-called demonstrations? Why can't we reunite our efforts? Why can't we unite regardless of our political party affiliations and start working towards rebuilding Zimbabwe? We have gone through 19 years of turmoil, 19 years of fighting each other, 19 years of antagonism, 19 years of underdevelopment, 19 years of further tearing the social fabric in Zimbabwe. Families have been ripped apart because of differing political opinions. Women constitute 52% of the population in Zimbabwe. And every protest that has happened in Zimbabwe since time immemorial, women have been victims of violence from the state, from other political actors, and in their communities. It is time that we start being sincere about peace building in Zimbabwe. Peace building starts with you and me. Peace starts with me and you. So we are calling on the police in Zimbabwe to ensure that every time there is a demonstration or when there is havoc in our central business districts or any other area, they should protect women. Last week's pictures of a grandmother who was lying in the streets being assaulted by the police was heartbreaking. It takes away the dignity of women, and we implore the ZRP to ensure that they protect our senior citizens who are caught up in skirmishes during protests. It is their duty as law enforcers to also ensure and protect the elderly citizens in Zimbabwe from abuse from the state, abuse from activists who will be protesting, and elderly people deserve the right to be protected by the Zimbabwe Republic Police. We need to rebuild Zimbabwe, and it is not the prerogative of any one political party to ensure that we transform and rebuild Zimbabwe. It is every Zimbabwean's responsibility to ensure that we get to a level of converging ideas that will ensure socio-economic development, sustainable human development, and a better and brighter Zimbabwe for future generations to come. We cannot continue being in a protest mode. Let us think beyond the political curtains. Let us think beyond protests and demonstrations. Yes, there is a time when we were saying we wanted to protest, but we protested and it did not yield any results. How many protests have happened in Zimbabwe and Africa at large? Did they yield any results? We need a paradigm shift of mindset to ensure that we become pro-development, that we start working towards rebuilding our country. Rebuilding starts in our local area. Have we called our local leaders to account? Do we know who our councillors are? Are we having proper and quality service delivery from our local councils? We need to start making sure that we change the political culture in Zimbabwe. We need to depolarize our country. We need to depolarize Zimbabweans' mindsets and start working together to ensure development in our country. That is what is important. Some might say we still need to demonstrate. Yes, demonstrating is a constitutional provision, but that constitutional provision becomes null and void when it becomes violent, when there is loss of life and everything else that has been happening in the political space in Zimbabwe. Let us take our time this evening to ensure that we work together, we consolidate our ideas to move Zimbabwe forward, and to ensure that all the political parties in Zimbabwe can come together and sit down and exchange ideas on how to take Zimbabwe forward. We are all Zimbabweans and we all want what is best for Zimbabwe. And what is best for Zimbabwe right now is working together, united in our diversity, to ensure that Zimbabwe becomes the breadbasket of Africa. Thank you.